Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. This is our annual meeting. Normally, we'd have 125 to 175 people at Alpine Country Club. Because of the COVID restrictions, we could not do this year. So we are by our bylaws, we do have to have an annual election of the board. That's the business meeting for today. And again, we thank you for joining us, and we'll have a few brief presentations, and then you can all get back to work. First off, I'd like to thank some people that are here with us today. First of all, one of our lobbyists, Lynette Forey-Menard, in the back here. Terry Martesian apologized. He would like to have been here with us, but he had pressing matters that he had to take care of. And again, throughout the year, and I know the General Assembly hasn't had a lot of meetings, but they do have a lot of discussions, and our lobbyists do an outstanding job of monitoring everything that goes on at the State House and making sure that your interest and our interest are protected year in and year out. We all know with the coming election in just a few weeks, statewide at least, I will not touch the national election, but statewide, we could have some interesting times coming. So we're going to have to be ever more vigilant with our lobbyists on any legislation that might be coming forward to protect your interest and ours. I'd also like to thank our corporate partners. Some of them are on the board of directors, some of them are not. But from Pawtucket Credit Union, Bill Dawson is visiting with his grandchildren in Washington, D.C. today. So representing Pawtucket Credit Union, Mark McLaughlin. Thank you, Mark, for being here with us. A great partner, Birchwood, and we have two members of Birchwood here today, Larry Avery and Samaya DeMarco. From Shamrock, my good friend Dean Harrington. Thank you, Dean. Washington Trust, Al Grant. From Equity National, Jim O'Donnell. And representing Michael Lima Law Offices, Hudson Cavallo. Thank you for joining us here today, Hudson. Appreciate that. And now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce the 2019-29 president of the Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association, Patrick Deedy of Bank 5, who will conduct the official business which must be conducted in order that we have an acting board of directors for the next year.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, so I'll read the resolution and we'll take a vote. It's a little lengthy resolution. Let's have at it. The following are resolutions for the adoption by the regular members at the annual meeting of the Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association at its annual meeting. Be it resolved that the number of directors of the RIMBA be set at 17 for the 2021 year. Be it further resolved that each of the following individuals be elected as director with terms to expire with the annual meeting in 2023, each to serve as such until the expiration of his or her respective term and until his or her successor is duly elected and qualified, or until his or her death, resignation, or removal, whichever shall first occur. Bill Dawson, Pawtucket Credit Union. Paul DeCose, Avantis. Samaya DeMarco, Birchwood Credit Services. Sarah Hansen, Atlantic Home Loans. Anne Marie Sweeney Copeland, Flagstar Bank. Be it further resolved that the election of the following individuals as a director at previous annual meetings of RIMBA, each with terms to expire at the annual meeting in the years indicated adjacent to his or her respective name, and until their successor is duly elected and qualified, or until their death, resignation, or removal, whichever shall first occur. B, and the same hereby are ratified, adopted, and confirmed. Terms expiring in 2021. Dean Harrington, Shamrock Financial. Patrick Deedy, Bank 5, that's yours truly. Thomas M. Fleming, Fleming Advisory Services. James Hahn, Partridge Snow and Hahn. Peter Pagonis, Rhode Island Housing. Terms expiring in 2022. David D. Cabels, Navigant Credit Union. Deb Imondi. David Curie, Province Mortgage Associates. Al Grant, the Washington Trust Company. Connie Vieira, Home Loan Investment Bank. Be it further resolved that all actions of officers and directors of RIMBA taken for and on behalf of RIMBA since the date of the last meeting of the shareholders of RIMBA, taken in good faith, reasonably believed by such officer or director to be in the best interest of RIMBA and within the intended scope of such officers or directors' authority as set forth in RIMBA's bylaws, and any resolutions of RIMBA presently in effect be and they thereby or hereby are ratified, confirmed, and approved by the regular members. Can I have a motion for approval? So moved. I have a second. All in favor? Aye. We have a vote. Official business is done. Not yet. Not yet. Almost.
Okay, for all of you watching on the video on the net, that was actually written by a lawyer. Patrick did not prepare that. Our corporate secretary, Jim Hahn, who could not be with us here today, prepared that, and the original version was actually in Latin. But we asked him to translate it in English for us so we could read that script for you all. I'd like to welcome, Patrick mentioned, Samaya. Samaya is our newest member of the Board of Directors. She was elected by the board this year, gratefully accepted. And Samaya has the double duty. She's also the president of the New Hampshire Mortgage Bankers Association, Mortgage Bankers and Brokers, I should say. So congratulations. Thank you, Samaya. We look forward to your valuable input. And Samaya has been very active in both the Women in Mortgage Banking and our Young Mortgage Professionals Committee over the past year. So she's a valuable asset, and we look forward to working with her. While I mentioned committees, I'd also like to point out Peter Pagonis, who's Rhode Island Housing and is the Education Committee Chair. Deb I. Mundy, the Women in Mortgage Banking Committee Chair. Sarah Hanson, our Young Mortgage Professionals Committee Chair. And Paul DeFalco, who's in charge of everything else we do for the membership that didn't come under those three headings. So if we have an event, Paul is there. So Paul DeCoste. I'm sorry, I said Paul DeCoste. I appreciate the input there. We also have one other thing we have to get done officially because of this is actually the annual meeting. We always have the annual treasurer's report. And I'd like to introduce our treasurer, Dave Curry.
That's right. Speak. The board is solvent.
Yeah, short and sweet. Yeah, it must be noted that Dave followed Patrick Deedy. Patrick Deedy was the first to actually use that very brief speech. We have a few dollars left, but while I'm on that subject, in the near future, you will be receiving your annual membership renewal letters. So in order for us to remain solvent, keep working with our lobbyists and do the other things that we hope to have a normal year next year for you, really would appreciate it if you would turn those membership renewal letters around and send us a check when you can. Also, one other thing we should talk about, again, since Lynette is here, the PAC, the Political Action Committee. We really could use continued contributions to the Political Action Committee. We only ask once or twice a year. We didn't have a Legislative Affairs Night in March this year, where we normally ask. So this is the ask. You'll be receiving something from Carolyn online, talking about the PAC and asking for your contributions. So if you could look forward to that. We also have a couple of directors who are going to be leaving the board after years of service. We have, first of all, who could not be here with us today. Susan Kelly was going to be with us here today. She sent an email to Carolyn and I this morning. She was with some friends this weekend. She's not feeling well, so she's going to be tested for COVID-19 today. So we certainly hope that if you're watching, Susan, that you are healthy and, in fact, do not have COVID. And she's the most energetic person I've ever met. She's the only person I know can be going 100 miles an hour in 4 different directions simultaneously. Enthusiastic, energetic. She brought a lot to the board. She was always there at 5 o'clock in the morning in Newport at the Country Club for the New England Mortgage Bankers annual convention golf tournament. And she's a wonderful person to be around. She's very passionate. She was on one of the committees she was on with the Women in Mortgage Bankers Committee. She was also, I mentioned NEMBC, and she helped Peter and I on the Education Committee. She was a board member from April 17th to October 20th. Patrick, there's a little award for Susan here. If you could show it to the cameras.
I'll model it.
Model it. You model the award. There you go.
That's your gift.
And thank you for your service, Susan. We really do appreciate it. And a longtime member of the Board of Directors, Jim O'Donnell of Equity National. He served 2 different terms, and our records go way back to the original founding of this organization in the late 1980s. He was on a number of committees. We don't have that time to talk about all those committees, James, but he was on the board from November of 1999 to November of 2010. And then the press of business dictated that Jim had to pay more attention to the growth, the continued growth of Equity National, and he's done a tremendous job there. And came back to us, thank the good Lord, November 2014, and now is leaving us effective today with this board meeting. He was a legislative co-chair from 2007 on. Might have been longer. Our records don't go that far back with the legislative committee. On the legislative committee, both first and second terms, the marketing committee the first term, an annual partner since inception in 2018, on the outreach committee in 2009, offices held, second VP 1119 to 1020. Could have had offices prior to that. Unfortunately, our records aren't that close. And, maybe more significantly, the Distinguished Service Award, 2004, 2006, 2010, the only 3-time winner that RIMBA's ever had for the Distinguished Service Award. Come on down, Jim, and get your presentation. Three times.
So we got
Yep.
congratulations. Thank you, man. Well done. Awesome. Oh. I'm smiling. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks very much.
Thank you again, Jim. Really appreciate your service. Okay, now it's time for 2 speeches. I'm told they're both going to be brief. One I think will be really brief. But we have an outgoing president, Patrick Deedy. Yes? Oh, I'm sorry, Bill Dawson's about. Yeah, I'm sorry. Can we go back? Can we retape that piece? All right. There is one more presentation. Well, the people have to be here. Bill Dawson, again, visiting with grandchildren in Washington, D.C. Bill Dawson completed the very strenuous requirements to become our second certified mortgage professional in the state of Rhode Island. So, presentation that we started last year. Bill became our second member. He did very well on the exam after years of not having seen the material that's on that exam. So, Patrick, do you want to read what that inscription says?
So this is inscribed, Bill Dawson, Certified Mortgage Professional. In recognition of your consistent demonstration of proficient knowledge and expertise in the mortgage lending industry and your support of the Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association, we are pleased to confer the designation of Certified Mortgage Professional upon you October 21st, 2020, and it's signed by the present president of the Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association. That's me.
And from Kentucky Credit Union, we have Mark McLaughlin. Mark, could you come up and take this on behalf of your colleague? Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, any other corrections here?
Yeah, I think we got one more. So, actually, I got one more time, so just,
Okay.
all right.
So, in 2019, Tom Fleming was appointed by the board as executive director. And without all the efforts that Tom puts forward, quite frankly, along with Carolyn, I don't believe that RIMBA would accomplish the things that it does for its membership and move all the different initiatives along for the benefit of the industry as a whole. Give a little bit more background on Tom. Tom's been in the industry for 50-plus years. He's been, I believe, is it a two-term president? Or two terms of the Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association. He's been a board member since 2006 through 2013, and then in November 2015 to present, so 2 terms on the board at RIMBA. President from November 2008 to November 2010. And again, he was named Executive Vice President by the board in 2019. He received the Distinguished Service Award 2003 and 2013 from the Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association. He's a member of the New England Mortgage Bankers Conference Hall of Fame. He's been on many, many committees, and I think it's hard for us all to think of somebody who's so dedicated to the mortgage industry as a whole. So for all of that, we thought it would be totally appropriate to confer on Tom the Lifetime Achievement Award by the Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association. So thank you very much, Tom, for all of your work.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. All right, now you got to get back to work. Oh, actually, yeah, so I'll do, I'll transition into my words now. Okay. All right, so I'm sure everybody here has heard the phrase, "May you live in interesting times." By all accounts, we certainly do live in interesting times. The provenance of this quote, not province, Dave, provenance. If this quote is believed to be from China, and I find that even more interesting given that the COVID virus was born out of Wuhan, China. Moreover, some may not know that it's meant more as a curse, tongue-in-cheek, kind of, may you live in interesting times, you know, not a nice thing. And with COVID, certainly many of us, you know, have lived through interesting times and what might be described as a curse. Loss, isolation, all kinds of negative things have come out of COVID. But there also has been some positive things. In particular, when I think of mortgage professionals, we really have been almost blessed by some of this that's gone on here. We're blessed with many things. We're blessed with job security, increasing income. A lot of positives have come about. I would argue that, you know, our adoption of technology in our industry, which I believe we've been ahead of the curve, has been brought to the forefront and a blessing. And I'm sure all of you can think of these different things that we've gone through during COVID within our industry that have been blessings. So, with everything in life, we always try to find the positive. And so I think it's important that we focus on the different blessings that have come about. And again, we're so fortunate in the mortgage industry to have gone through this and continue to go through this and to be in this unique position. Over the course of 2 years here, we've completed a lot of initiatives. But probably the most important blessing we received as a result of COVID is the CARES Act. Because the CARES Act has provided a workforce training grant through CCRI that Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association is working in connection with. And 2 years ago, we promised as an association that we would deliver a training program, which is desperately needed for our industry. And so in the next week, we will actually deliver on that promise with a blessing through the CARES Act and CCRI in conjunction with RIMBA. It was a lot of the work that RIMBA had put in place through Tom's efforts, Peter's efforts, subcommittee efforts, Connie Vieira, many others, too many to mention, who've continually worked on being prepared and trying to put this program into effect. And so now it goes into effect. 15 Rhode Islanders will be afforded the opportunity in 3 different classes, so that's 15 per class, will be afforded the opportunity to learn the trade, the mortgage industry trade, all the different blessings that we've all enjoyed. They'll have the opportunity to get in the industry and enjoy that. It's a tremendous blessing that we're fortunate to have. With that said, that's probably one of the happiest things that I can announce over the last 2 years. There have been so many other things, so many other initiatives that have been accomplished. We have one of the strongest women in mortgage banking programs in New England. We have one of only 2 young mortgage professional programs in New England. We have a weekly RIMBA report that is, all the other trade associations are jealous of it. We have a Rising Stars program that Tom has championed, a certified mortgage professional program that Tom has championed. We contributed over this last year $10,000 to the Rhode Island Food Bank in recognition of the fact that we cannot get together in a normal way as an association. The legislative efforts are a little muted at the present time, so we don't have a big expense there. And just an understanding that because we are blessed, that it would be wise for us to share those blessings. $8,000 was matched by different members of the organization. Truly great blessing. In 2019, Homes for Our Troops, the Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association led that effort at the New England Mortgage Bankers Association Conference. A ton of money was raised there. Tom, how much money was there raised? It was
About 22,000. With Birchwood, I might add. Birchwood
Yeah.
had a matching.
one of our platinum sponsors, Birchwood, led the way there with, I think, over $10,000 a contribution. You're too modest, Samaya. Yes, Tom and Rhode Island definitely led the charge, but you're great to have participated. And none of these things happen without the dedication of the membership and the contributions of the membership to the cause. Your membership dues remain important because that's what makes us solvent, and obviously we cannot do the great work that we do without it to protect the industry. Also, we have a dedicated staff, not staff, but a voluntary board, and as well as Tom pushing all these initiatives forward. So at the end of the day, with everybody's effort and work, I just feel grateful, and despite all the nastiness that we endure with COVID and other things in society, we are truly blessed. So with that, I just say thank you, and I think I'll hand it back to Tom. Thank you all very much.
Thanks. One thing I'd like to add to what Patrick said, and there was an enormous amount of initiatives that we did get accomplished during Patrick's term. I was so happy that we were finally able to deliver the education piece, because he kept saying we were going to have it, and I said, boy, good Lord, I hope that's really going to happen. So next Tuesday, it really happens. But we did also partner with Habitat for Humanity. We had a bowling challenge. We raised a significant amount of money, thanks to our members and some people that sponsored at various events. And we had a build with Habitat for Humanity. Our intention was to follow that up again this year, but COVID kind of set that aside. So we will be doing that again next year. We will have the bowling challenge. You hear that upstairs? We will have the bowling challenge, and we will be doing a bill with Habitat for Humanity. Also with the Community Food Bank, when they're able to have volunteers come in, and they can't right now, the Board of Directors and any of our members who would like to join us are going to be encouraged to spend some time at the food bank, say a morning or an afternoon, helping them with the great work that they do. So I just wanted to mention that. Patrick, I found something back here that I think has your name on it. Hold on one second. Hey, yes. Oh, I think I got a hernia. But anyways, we have a history at the Rhode Island Mortgage Bankers Association. We have an outgoing president to give them a token of appreciation from the board, which is something that's meaningful to them. It varies with different presidents. I spoke to a young lady named Trish, and she told me that Patrick was a big New England Patriots fan. Somebody also said he was a baseball fan. She says, he hates baseball. So I said, okay, well, it's the New England Patriots. So we went to memorabilia, and we found something of, I think Patrick will like to be able to hang into his office. And this is an autographed picture of Teddy Bruschi. It's the New England Patriots, presented to Patrick Deedy, RIMBA President 2019-2020. And we think it has some value. I think most of you know Teddy Bruschi. I happen to be a Cleveland Browns fan. Yeah, I've suffered for many, many years now. But anyways, he was a great football player. And he gets $40,000 for a public appearance. So I thank him for autographing that picture for us for something less than $40,000. And we thought about Brady but our treasurer said we don't have enough money in the treasury, so forget that. So, Patrick, thank you for all you did. So,
That's fantastic.
Thanks again. Appreciate it. And thank you for the award, everybody. I did not expect that, but I really do appreciate it. And now we have one more person that has to speak, and that's our incoming president, who's going to be talking about all the wonderful things we're going to do in 2021 and 2022. That would be Al Grant from the Washington Trust. Al, before you speak, I'd like to wish something for you, many things for you over the next 2 years, but one of them is not to have a term in office like Patrick or I. We all remember that the business crashed in 2008. Well, guess who was the president of this ship in 2009, 2010? It was like rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic. So I will always remember 2009, 2010, and Patrick, you had COVID. May God bless you with a peaceful 2 years of office.
I'm not going to throw my mask down on the ground. Thank you. I am honored and humbled to accept this position. I will be serving out the remainder of my term in a hazmat suit with a N95 mask from my bunker in Narragansett. Call me if you need me. I want to thank Patrick and the previous presidents that I had the pleasure of serving with, Deb Mundy, Dave DeCubelis, Dean Harrington. Their leadership and direction have been key in making RIMBA a stronger and more impactful organization for our members and the industry. A number of years ago, our past president, Dean Harrington, made relevancy and advocacy a cornerstone of his term. This made a lasting impression on our organization and continues to drive current and future initiatives, as witnessed by the many strides noted by Patrick. RIMBA's benefiting our members, their families, our industry, and Rhode Islanders in general through education, legislative watchdogging and advocacy, and meaningful charitable work for those who need it most. I personally want to thank each of our board members. This is truly a working board that generously gives of their time, energy, expertise, and even personal finances to make this thing work very well. The collegiality and can-do attitude between who some would see as competitors is both invigorating and inspiring. I also want to thank our many hardworking volunteers and affiliate members whose contributions are an invaluable piece of the fabric of RIMBA. I'm thrilled that the board unanimously voted to make Tom Fleming our permanent executive vice president. He, along with Carolyn Dion Mata, our tremendous administrative assistant, are truly the day-to-day heartbeat of RIMBA. Tom's passion for our association, our industry, and our state are best exemplified with his most recent dogged determination that has made the dream of the principles of mortgage lending educational initiative a reality for us. Thank you very much, Tom. So moving forward, as we navigate a pandemic and manage unprecedented industry volume, we look to build upon all that's been accomplished by RIMBA and to continue to be a trusted source of industry information and education, a meaningful advocate for our members, and a benevolent contributor to the greater Rhode Island community. With great collaboration from a tremendous organization, you have my word to be a worthy steward committed to making a positive difference. Thanks. Don't leave me hanging, Tom.
I'll be back. I'm coming. I just had to check with the boss on something. See, Carolyn and I are a great team. She's a tremendous colleague to work with. I generally, along with some of the members of the board of directors, will come up with what I think is a genius idea. Her first reaction is, "Are you nuts?" And then she makes it happen. So God bless you, Carolyn Yamada, for putting up with me for all this time. So for you members out there, you voted your proxy. So we had an election here today in person. We also had you vote by proxy, which is required by our bylaws. And we thank you for filling out those proxies and sending them in. You will notice in that list was a list of the officers of RIMBA. The officers of RIMBA are elected by the board of directors from the membership of the board. There was one vacancy on there. There's also a second vacancy, actually. So in a future meeting, probably in November, the board will be filling those two slots that remain vacant on that slate that you saw of the officers of RIMBA. Upcoming events, we have training, November 6th. For you people who need CE training. Do you still have seats available?
Yes.
We still have seats available. They'll be conducted at the Pawtucket Country Club. And I think we have a little over 40 people already registered, correct?
Yeah.
So if it's getting near the end of the year for you people who have to get your licenses renewed. So if you're out there watching and you like the in-person training, I know some of you do, obviously 40 some do, please fill out the registration and get your name in. Also, I have two announcements on the education side that I don't think Al is aware of because I haven't talked too much about it. We have executed a partnership with Hondros, an online training company. And RIMBA is going to be offering online in the near future both the 20-hour course for any of your employees who might be interested in pursuing their loan officer license and the CE training online if that's the format that you prefer. And RIMBA will be offering that. Also coming up in the very near future with a partnership with Deal, another online training company, we'll be offering an FHA DE underwriting program. It'll be over 3 days and it'll be specifically aimed at upgrading some of your underwriters who don't have their DE designation to be able to get that very, very worthwhile DE designation. Is there anything else, Carolyn?
We potentially have something with National MI?
Was-
Mid-November.
Oh, mid-November, yeah. Mid-November, we're going to have a online webinar. And again, we would love to do all of these in person. As you know, we probably have, and I've said this many, many times even to my colleagues in the other states, I believe we have more events for our members, you members out there who are watching, because we value your membership. We want to make sure we are doing everything in our power to give you valid added for your membership fees, and we appreciate them coming in and year out. So it's pained us greatly not to have all the events that we have this year. We're trying to fill in with webinar training and things like that, and we're desperately looking for a normal 2021. We do hope that happens. Anything else? Anybody else have anything for the good of the cause? Seeing no answers, I thank you for coming here today. I thank you for watching with us today. God bless you, and I hope we all remain COVID-free. Oh, yeah, okay. Motion to adjourn for the people who are here. A motion to adjourn. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you.